All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're going deep on something kind of unexpected. Watermelon.
Watermelon, huh?
Yeah. You guys shared Nick DiGiovanni's 50 ways to use a watermelon YouTube video, and let me tell you, my curiosity was piqued.
50 ways. Beyond just like slicing it up.
Exactly. I mean, what could he possibly do with that much watermelon? I had to find out.
Well, I gotta say, you're in for a wild ride. This video, it's like a roller coaster of creativity. From super simple tricks to some pretty gourmet stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, they kick things off with this viral hack using a Pringles can to core a watermelon.
A Pringles can? Seriously?
Yeah, and the crazy part is, it totally works.
No way.
It really makes you wonder, what other everyday things are we totally missing out on using in, like, genius ways?
Right. Sometimes the simplest solution is right there under our noses.
Totally.
So, okay, Pringles can for the win, but then they get into these, like, rare watermelon varieties, midnight, yellow, even an orange one.
Oh, that orange one.
I know, right?
When they cut it open, it's literally like staring at the sun,
It's almost too much. I don't know. I'm kind of a watermelon purist, I think.
Yeah, I get that.
But it does make you think about how much the look of food affects, like how much we enjoy it.
Absolutely. Presentation is everything.
Totally. But speaking of messing with watermelon's looks, remember that part where they tried to dye one blue?
Oh, yeah, with the blue soda.
Yeah. It was a valiant effort.
It was. But maybe some things are better left au naturel,
I think so. Nature clearly knows what it's doing when it comes to watermelon.
For sure.
But where nature might fall a little short, human ingenuity steps in. This video has some mind-blowing watermelon carvings.
The detail on those carvings is insane. They even did, like, Nick and Gordon Ramsay's faces.
I know.
It's amazing what people can do with a knife and a little patience.
And a whole lot of talent. I mean, come on. But then there's the big reveal, the square watermelon.
Ah, yes, the square watermelon. Turns out, cake. They had us fooled for a second there.
Oh, poor Patrick. He was so excited thinking they'd actually grown a square watermelon.
I know, right?
But I gotta say, that cake was pretty impressive on its own. Talk about a delicious deception.
Yeah, for sure.
But then things take a turn for the bizarre, I guess you could say. Watermelon rind shoes.
The watermelon rind shoes, yeah. Not sure that's going to catch on.
I don't think so either. I mean, did they even last 5 minutes? But, okay, after that footwear fiasco, the video shifts gears to some more, shall we say, elevated uses for watermelon.
Right, like they take all those leftover watermelon scraps and make this frozen yogurt bark.
Which is honestly a pretty genius idea, right?
Super simple, but like elegant.
Yeah.
And a great way to reduce food waste.
So true. It's a good reminder to use everything in the kitchen. And then there was the naked watermelon. That one just blew my mind.
Oh, the naked watermelon. That was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they shaved it down to fit perfectly inside the hollowed out shell.
It was like watching a work of art unfold, honestly.
Totally agree.
And speaking of art, how about that watermelon caviar?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty cool. Using that agar stuff to make these tiny watermelon pearls that look just like caviar. It's like science meets the culinary world,
It's like having your own molecular gastronomy lab at home. And then they use the watermelon caviar to top this watermelon tuna sushi.
Right. That totally fooled Patrick.
I mean, visually, it was incredibly convincing, but to trick someone's taste buds like that?
That's next level.
It really is. So, okay, we've covered some seriously creative uses for watermelon already, but you are not going to believe what they do next.
Oh, boy, what now?
Drinks. A whole bunch of watermelon drinks. And we're not talking your average run-of-the-mill watermelon juice here.
Well, to be fair, they do start simple with watermelon-infused water, which, is basically just watermelon ice cubes in water.
And Patrick hilariously asks, why not just make juice?
He has a point, though.
He does. But they do get around to the juice eventually. With a pretty epic setup, I might add a watermelon tap.
That was impressive.
It was. And then, to top it off, they make watermelon noodles in juice, like a summer salad situation.
Right. And that got me thinking, I wonder if that would work with other melons, too. Cantaloupe noodles, honeydew noodles.
Interesting. But back to the watermelon, the drink innovations don't stop there. They even try their hand at homemade watermelon soda using this special carbonation device.
That whole process seemed a bit involved, all that cranking and hissing.
I know.
Makes you wonder if it's even worth the effort.
But then you see Patrick's face when they open that bottle. Pure joy.
Totally worth it.
So worth it. And hold on tight, because they don't stop at soda. They decide to carbonate an entire watermelon using dry ice.
Dry ice. Okay, now that's ambitious.
Right. They're even wearing lab coats and goggles. Safety first.
Always a good idea when dealing with dry ice.
For sure. So they carefully layer the watermelon with the dry ice in this cooler, wrap it up tight, and then the waiting game begins.
The anticipation is killing me.
I know. It's like waiting for the grand finale of a fireworks show or something.
And speaking of fireworks.
The results are pretty explosive. They open the cooler, and the watermelon is like fizzing and bubbling.
Science in action.
It's incredible what they come up with. I mean, who would thought you could carbonate a whole watermelon? But wait, it gets even better. They decide to make liquid nitrogen ice cream.
Liquid nitrogen ice cream. Okay, that's something you don't see every day.
It's like watching magic, honestly. They mix the watermelon juice with vanilla ice cream and then slowly pour in the liquid nitrogen, and boom, instant ice cream.
So cool.
They even use a heart-shaped mold, which is just adorable.
It's the little things, right?
Totally. And to top it all off, they garnish it with freeze-dried watermelon.
Because why not use every single part of the fruit, right?
Right. So from frozen treats to carbonated fruit, it seems like there's no limit to what they can do with watermelon.
And believe it or not, we're just getting started. Buckle up for even more savory surprises and sweet treats in part 2 of our watermelon deep dive.
I can't wait.
All right, so you ready to venture into, like, the savory side of watermelon?
Savory watermelon. I gotta be honest, I'm a little skeptical. But hey, I'm always up for a culinary adventure.
Well, prepare to be amazed. They kick things off with, get this, watermelon Doritos.
Watermelon Doritos. Okay, you have my attention.
Right. So they slice the watermelon super thin, like almost paper thin, and then they cut them into those iconic triangle shapes. And then the secret weapon, Dorito seasoning.
No way. That's genius.
Right. And they're surprisingly convincing. I mean, they look like Doritos. They kind of smell like Doritos.
Do they taste like Doritos?
Well, you'll have to watch the video to find out. But they don't just stop at the chips. Oh, no. They go all out and make a watermelon salsa to go with it.
Of course they do. These guys are all about commitment.
Totally. And they even add a little soy sauce to the salsa just to, like, you know, keep things interesting.
A little umami twist. I like it. But, okay, watermelon Doritos, that's pretty wild. But then they take it up a notch. Watermelon ham, anyone.
Watermelon ham. Yeah. This one's a little out there. They score a whole watermelon to look like a ham, season it up with garlic powder and chili powder, and then get this, they smoke it on the grill.
What? Smoked watermelon? I don't even know what to think about that. What does it even look like?
Honestly, not that appetizing. Kind of like a hunk of raw beef almost.
Oh, no.
But the taste apparently is pretty good. Tender, meaty texture. Although Nick does say he still prefers chicken.
Well, speaking of chicken, that's their next experiment, right? Chicken and watermelon. That's a combo I never would have thought of.
Right. Chicken and a watermelon.
Yeah.
It all started as like an April Fool's joke from the New York Times.
Wait, really?
Yeah. But Nick and Patrick, they decided to take it seriously. They stuff a whole marinated chicken inside a hollowed out watermelon.
The whole chicken?
The whole chicken. And they bake it.
I can't even imagine what that must smell like.
Apparently heavenly. And when they cut it open, it's pretty impressive. Like this beautiful, juicy chicken just nestled inside the watermelon.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. So we've had savory chips and dip, faux ham, and chicken in a watermelon. I'm ready for something sweet. What kind of sugary watermelon goodness did they come up with?
Well, they start with a classic. Watermelon cupcakes.
Watermelon cupcakes. I love it.
They're always a crowd pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Although Patrick's attempt doesn't quite go according to plan.
Of course not.
It wouldn't be a Nick and Patrick video without at least one kitchen mishap, right?
Exactly. It's what makes them so relatable. We've all been there. But besides the cupcakes, what else?
Well, they get really creative with this elaborate watermelon cake decorated with all sorts of fresh fruit.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
It is. But here's the twist. Instead of frosting, they use Korean sugar syrup.
Korean sugar syrup. Okay, I'm listening.
So there's this simple syrup made with sugar and watermelon, right?
Right.
But when you put it in the fridge, it transforms into this, like, soft, taffy-like consistency.
No way. What do they do with it?
They make watermelon lollipops, which are cute and delicious.
Mm-hmm.
But the real star of the show is tanghulu.
Tanghulu?
Yeah, it's a traditional Chinese snack, basically candied fruit. So they coat the watermelon in the sugar syrup, and it hardens into this gorgeous, shiny glaze.
That sounds incredible and super Instagrammable, too.
Right. And if you're looking for something a little more interactive, they also make watermelon bottle jelly.
Watermelon bottle jelly.
It's pretty cool. They freeze watermelon juice in a bottle, and then you just squeeze it out to enjoy this, like, refreshing, icy treat.
Oh, I love that.
Right, it's like a grown-up push-up pop. And of course, they couldn't resist making some watermelon jello.
Oh, no. Did Patrick have another mishap?
Let's just say he had a little trouble cutting it open.
Figures. But at least Nick always has a backup plan. So watermelon bottle jelly, jello, what else?
Oh, they even try watermelon pizza using mint instead of basil?
Watermelon pizza. I'm not sure about that one.
Patrick claims it's even better than pineapple pizza.
Oh, that's a bold statement. I'm a pineapple on pizza fan myself, so I'd have to try it to believe it.
Yeah, I think we all would. And for the grand finale of the sweet treats, they make sour gummy worms from watermelon rind.
Sour gummy worms from watermelon rind.
Yep. And then Patrick asks to be fed them like a baby bird.
Oh, Patrick. Never change. So after all those sweet and savory watermelon concoctions, how do they possibly top it all off?
Well, they end the video with a bang, quite literally. They take on the classic rubber band challenge.
The rubber band challenge? You know, the one where you see how many rubber bands it takes to explode a watermelon?
That's the one. They start wrapping those rubber bands around the watermelon. The tension builds.
Then the watermelon starts to, like, warp and bulge.
You just know it's going to be epic. And then, well, you could probably guess, it explodes.
Watermelon shrapnel everywhere.
Yeah, it's a pretty messy finale, but hey, it's definitely memorable.
And before they sign off, Nick makes sure to remind everyone to, hit that subscribe button so he can finally beat Gordon Ramsay's subscriber count.
Kind of a little friendly competition, right?
Always keeps things interesting. But, okay, let's step back for a minute. What are, like, the big takeaways from this whole watermelon deep dive? What did we learn?
I think for me, it's a good reminder that we often take everyday things for granted. We get so used to seeing them, using them in the same way, that we forget about all the hidden potential.
Right, like watermelon. Before this, I honestly never would have thought to make, like, watermelon Doritos or watermelon ham.
Exactly. But with a little imagination and maybe a touch of crazy, you can turn almost anything into something amazing. It's about pushing those boundaries.
Yeah, totally. And it's not just about being creative. It's also about challenging our assumptions. We put food into these neat little categories. Sweet, savory, snack, meal. But this video, it shows us that we can break free from those categories.
Right. Who says watermelon can't be savory? Or that rind can't be candy?
It's all about thinking outside the box, or I guess in this case, outside the rind. And it makes you wonder, what other possibilities are we missing out on? What other everyday ingredients have these hidden depth that we haven't even tapped into?
It's pretty exciting to think about, honestly. And what really struck me is how they took something as simple as watermelon and transformed it into these incredibly complex creations.
Yeah, it was pretty mind-blowing, some of the stuff they came up with.
And it shows you don't need fancy equipment or expensive ingredients to be innovative in the kitchen.
It's about having fun, being playful, and not being afraid to experiment.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's my challenge to you. Take a look in your fridge, in your pantry, and ask yourself, what can I do differently? What can I create? You never know what amazing discoveries you might make.
Great advice. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this juicy journey. Until next time, happy experimenting.